Peace and light, that old guy Australia, coming to you from the far south coast of New South Wales. For any overseas viewers, so again, you go to the right hand side of Australia, Victoria, the top of Victoria, and just up on the coast there's a little place called Bermagui or Narooma. I'm in that area there, and it's bucketing down, has been for a long time. We're just in a very fortunate situation here geographically that we don't have major river systems that would flood. For those who are overseas, we're in the middle of a catastrophic geoengineered weather front. Stretches over 3,000, or has stretched over 3,000 kilometres. Make no mistake, this is a result of geoengineering. The conspiracy theorists have been right for decades and decades. Gold Coast City Council up in Queensland, not that long ago, sent out a flyer to all residents warning them not to drink of their tank water because they've been in contact with the United Nations, who in 2009 signed an agreement with the Australian government to cloud seed and to do weather variations to help with climate change. Now, they may be able to change the weather, but they can't control it. So now we have the biggest floods ever seen in Australia. And yeah, Australia's a land of diversity. As Dorothy McKellar would say, droughts and flooding rains, but nothing like this. 2.5 years ago, we had geoengineered firestorms where there's tons of evidence of of strikes that were not lightning strikes, where these fires started. We had years and years and years of rack and ruin prior to that, where the Greens Party, who knows, under some kind of instruction, blocked every effort by those who wished to clear all the debris and the fuel from the forest floors and to do back burning so that we wouldn't be put in the position that we were in. Instead, Australia burned. And while Australia burned, the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, holidayed in Hawaii. This time around, in the Northern Rivers District of New South Wales, right up in the northern area of New South Wales, we had the most catastrophic flooding ever seen. Hundreds and hundreds of people are unaccounted for, entire towns wiped out, isolated, rivers burst their banks. They've never seen anything like it. Millions of livestock lost and wildlife gone. We haven't declared a national emergency. He hasn't declared it a natural disaster, because it's not a natural disaster. There's nothing natural about this. In that newsletter by the Gold Coast Council to the residents, they were informing residents the United Nations was spraying barium and nanoparticles into the atmosphere to help with climate control. We now find out, and I've been sent numerous articles, on the incredible amount of seeding they can do from the ground using ground flares. We know that China, for the last 15 years, has been developing their own weather systems over their country so they can have sun or rain or whatever they want in certain areas. Not necessarily controlled, because they've had massive floods as well over the years. But we know that this has been going on. And Scott Morrison, our Prime Minister, is not to be seen. Where's he? Oh, where's he? Oh, he's organising a state funeral for a cricketer. Where's the police? They're at the Gay Mardi Gras in Sydney. Where's all the Defence Forces, who, by the way, are still under Lieutenant J.J. Frewens' control? He's the one who's doing the vaccine rollout across Australia. Remember that? Remember that? And he hasn't been taken off him, he's still doing. So where's the ADF, the Australian Defence Forces? Oh, they're out in the indigenous rural remote areas, jabbing the bloody elderly and the young, out in the remote areas of Australia. So they're nowhere to be found. Oh, hang on, they were found. They were filmed. Setting up a film shoot, emptying a trailer in the middle of nowhere. People driving past, so the guy stopped and started filming them. What are you doing? What's this going to go on the ABC News tonight? We've got people saying the ADF are up there doing a fantastic job. And they're not. They're not. For those who don't know, my beautiful, beautiful, lovely wife, Joanne, spent most of her life up in the Northern Rivers District. All her children were born near Murwillumbah. All of her children were born there, at the foot of Mount Warning. We have a tremendous amount of friends. We have a lot of friends up in the Northern Rivers District. A lot of friends. I was going to read you a message that Joe was sent. I was going to read it to you. From one of the residents up there in Mawilumbar, where the op shop is a focal point of community services up there. And they're looking to have that demolished because of mudslides, and they're afraid if it goes there'll be nothing else. I was going to read it to you, but I didn't think I could, and I know I couldn't. When Joe read it to me on the phone, I cried and cried. It's just absolutely devastating. And as this lady points out, the people who are doing the work up there are not the ADF, they're not the police, they're not the SES. We've had helicopters flying around all over Sydney, chasing people for not wearing masks. We've had police bashing into crowds who are protesting against mandates and firing tear gas and rubber bullets at them. Massive amounts of these overseas mercenaries dressed as riot police. Thousands of them, all around protesters. They're not up there now. Northern Rivers District is destroyed. The final toll for this in 6 months' time will mean that many of those homes will never be rebuilt. The people couldn't even get insurances because it is a flood area up there. And a lot of those towns, yes, they were built on the banks of rivers because they were major trading ports in the previous, 150 years. They're devastated, absolutely ruined. There's nothing left up there. The reports we've all seen it. It is catastrophic. As this friend of ours pointed out, the people doing the work are volunteers. All volunteers. All volunteers. So Scott Morrison, missing again, right before an election. Busy organising a funeral for a cricketer. Got things to do. Priorities. Won't declare a national disaster. We have $3.8 billion sitting in a fucking disaster fund. That's earned $800 million in interest. They haven't spent one single cent of it. And we have people on the south coast down here in Cobargo and in the outlying areas that are still living in fucking caravans whose houses were destroyed by the fires 2.5 years ago. If you think the government cares for you because they want to roll out a jab to save you from a virus with a 99% recovery rate, you need to get your fucking head read. Don't you see what's wrong with this picture? You can't see it. Wars in Ukraine. Russia, Ukraine. Oh my God. 3 days ago, the Pfizer documents were released. They were released. Not a word. Not a bloody word. Get over on Rumble and BitChute and you'll find them. Get over on Telegram and Twitter. Not even Twitter. No, on Twitch. You'll find them. But you won't find them on mainstream media. Because that's why Fauci's gone missing. The outfall for this will be catastrophic for you people. Once you find out and suddenly begin to realise what's going on and what has been taking place. I feel so sorry for you. I don't blame you and I don't condemn you, but I feel so sorry for you. If you're just sitting around going, wow, this is all just all coincidence. Everything's happening. It's every single thing that's going on. It's just a total coincidence. Total coincidence. If that's your attitude, God help you. That old guy Australia.